Well, there he is, Y2J, Chris Jericho, widely regarded as perhaps the worst character in the game by many. I've been talking for gosh knows how long about Y2J and how he can possibly be useful. The problem is, for most, he's only useful if he's a gold. Because you can take a look here, it decreases the countdown gems by 4. You also gain an extra countdown gem, therefore making 7 random gems into green gems with the 2. So that's 14 green gems on the board. The finisher destroys 5 random green gems and pins the opponent within 11k damage. I tested him a little bit, and that comes out to, if you get all 9 with a normal cascade or at least a match, it came out to about a 41k finisher, which is very not bad. And that's with it not maxed out. And you can see people are still enjoying this Player's Choice event. There's been no shortage of bags in my faction. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to run the double MP trainer. At the end of the day, this is just to quicken us up a little bit, and so you guys can see how he works in the mechanics. There's a couple different ways, but you need Lawler. Lawler is the must. Lawler's the must because you got to get down those countdown gems, and you're going to look to get that second green moving in play. So that's how we're going to play him right now. In terms of tag links, let's take a look. We have not a whole lot that really helps us. I mean, the Christian link eventually could help you if you don't get, ideally, if you don't run steel and you don't get, ideally 2 green matches to start. It could obviously speed up when you can finally, get those countdown gems moving. But the Jerry show is worthless. The Canadian move, worthless. So really, we're just going to be running Attitude Era. What I want to do, so we can show you kind of the mechanics on how he can play, is I'm just going to do a game on the road, a match versus The Rock. That way, it'll give us a little bit of time and give you an idea exactly how he works and kind of go from there. So we're going to go with that standard setup. You can see Rock is kind of a lower edge gold of sorts. He's not really a gold because he's only at 6,000, but you guys get what I'm saying, and we know he's going to have some health. So here's how he works, and this is actually, it doesn't get any better than the board here, especially, if steel was not in play, but, steel is in play, so we get our green match right away. We're going to lay down 2 countdown gems. And, you want to put them in a place where they are not going to get broken. So here and here, let's put them along the wall. Okay. We could get greedy if we think that it's not going to be, a situation where the damage wins, and usually it doesn't. But what we'll do here for the time being is we're just going to get the greens. But you could have gone with a blue there. And if you went with a blue, maybe you start, charging back up that countdown gem. So here's how they work. Okay, so here we are at turn 3, and that would be the quickest you can actually get this ready if you have steel, or if you have no steel on them and you need 2 matches, because the countdown gems don't come out till turn 2. So if they're not out till turn 2, it kind of is what it is. And now with this little button, we're going to blow up the board a little bit. So it's 25k. It's a nice start. It obviously loads up the finisher. Also, understand I have him at a Hollow Star, which is a 4% gem. I also have him at level 100. So his gem damage is going to go up substantially going forward. Let's go right to the finisher, where we're only going to be breaking 5 because we're not using Cesaro. And it's another 20-some. It's nothing to really write home about. But, it does flow, and it gives you an opportunity there. And, putting 14 on the board, even as anybody can understand, if you're getting that many matches, all it takes is to max out his gem damage a little bit, and we can see how he worked there. What I'm going to do now is, and we'll stick with the rock, just because it gives us time to see how the mechanics of the character work. Again, this is a situation where nobody's ever going to argue that Y2J is going to be a top character or a second-tier character or even a third-tier character. This just kind of shows, how he can actually be played if you're a huge Jericho fan. Because let's be clear, the Acro Jericho is atrocious. So this one, at least you can play with. Now, let's take Steel off him, and let's put Cesaro on him. And we'll take a look. Where is he? See, Cesaro will blow up 9, which makes the finisher have a lot of bite. Now, you can see here, it's 1670 if we had him, if we had the gem. The gems do climb up north of 2,000, even with the 4% buff. So, I mean, if we're talking about 350 a pop and we're breaking 10, I mean, that's an extra 4,000. I mean, it counts, in terms of, on a finisher or on, a cascade of sorts. So, it does matter if you want to max them. Unfortunately or fortunately, I mean, I have characters I actually do use on a regular basis that are getting my coins right now as opposed to Y2J. And as we all know, maxing a character in this game is it's a highly questionable move, if you have other areas of need, and most of us do. So let's get that green match first. So that's green match number 1. And that's kind of what we talked about before. So now we're going to lay it down. And we need a second match, and that's really the name of the game here. We're going to need a second match to blow up the board again with these greens. So one way to get it is, let's kind of try to trap them here. Let's drop this down, and then we got a green there, and hopefully they'll leave it on the board for us, which they do. And we're going to get our other green match. So it's turn 4 instead of turn 5. I'm gonna send out these countdown gems. I will note, so you can see where the pin bar is here, that it does skip turn. So I mean, obviously the hope is we're gonna get so many matches that it doesn't matter, but it does skip turn. And there's our 14, and we get a little bit better of a result than we expected the first time, and that came out to about 30K, and he's not gonna survive it. So, I mean, that's 14 is 14, and it keeps him moving a little bit. And for those of us, who don't have, for example, somebody for Lawler to go on, or Titus is tied up, and you can put Lawler on him, I mean, it's in play. I mean, it's certainly something that he can work with. Another way to play him, because you're looking at double greens, is you can put a gold dust on him. That'll make the finisher a little bit more. As you saw, my finisher's a level 9. So it makes it a little bit easier in terms of being able to see that he jumps a couple thousand after that, and gold dust will add up 45%. So you're looking at about another 10K between the 2 green moves, which, if you're in a situation where the finisher's ready and you have the up move ready, at least there's a way for you to chop down on your character a little bit. We've seen the mechanics on how he works right now, and oh my goodness gracious, somebody had a good morning. And yeah, it's been a steady flow from this faction, and I'll note the fact that we are, finally, recruiting. Today's really the beginning of our recruiting cycle in the New Hope. So feel free, you can reach out to me directly. If interested, we did form a second faction. It doesn't have the same name. It's not like, the branding that some of the other factions do. But there's some opportunities, so feel free to reach out. And the bags have been a-flowing. We're going to take a look. Obviously, he's way behind the 8 ball because he's much, much slower. Even if I run, from my perception, if I run Y2J with Steel, which gets us, as you saw, it gets us to a situation where he's quicker in terms of being able to do what we want to do relative to the relative to it, it getting off those green moves faster. There's still the back end on it, which isn't great. So what we're going to run here, and we're going to do this one match just to show how he is in competitive environment. I'm not expecting to win. We're going to give him AJ, because AJ is clearly the weakest in terms of the quote-unquote meta characters. He also has an opportunity where if we get him to, get off his finisher before those color turns are out, he's susceptible. So let's take a look at what the board looks like here for us. In terms of a board here, we've got a heck of a lot of green, which is great. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way that we can get a double match here, because that's obviously what we want. Unfortunately, just eyeballing it, it doesn't seem like that's the case. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hope to preserve a green match here, and that way, at least, we can talk turkey and go that way. So let's do that. Let's go where? Go this way. And there's our 5. It's not a double match, but, it's still, and it's kind of ironic because, this happens a couple times on my other videos. I have a really fortuitous board, and then what happens, literally you just set up the computer for, a perfect 5. But it actually achieved the result we wanted, which we talked about earlier, which was essentially that we get him to get off his finisher. And I think we might have a shot in the dark here. So this is going to be interesting. The AJ, we're going to put it here. Now, the green move, it still needs, as I said, we got the match, but we didn't get a double match. So we still need the green match. As much as I would like, not to have to go that route, we still do. Because then we're going to go here, and we're going to get that green match. So the 2 green matches, as you can see, on turn 1 and turn 2. And, of course, AJ walks right into that. Literally, he walks into, what did he get, 9 blue there, where he was SOL on his finisher. And, it's going to be what it'll be. This will be nice. Our best hope here is that we get enough matches and we don't force a pin. And that is exactly what just happened there. So we might have a shot to win this thing. Look, there's going to be 9 on the board. I'm going to do this, get off to 10. And this might get it done. This should be able to get it done against AJ. Good night, AJ. So, not awful. Council rests here, and as all you know,